The following brands have in one way or another contributed to this video.
Hey everyone, my name is Max, welcome to my channel, and in this video I'll be taking a very close look at this Harley Benton Fusion T. Those of you who've been here before, you already know the drill. I'll be using my penalty point system. If you don't know what it is, there is a video explaining it in details, but long story short, I'll be studying the instrument, and every time there's a problem, whatever, something completely unexpected or the specs don't match the official specs, the guitar will get a penalty point. The less points at the end, the better, alright? But before we get to that, let's check what this guitar sounds like in the mix. If you don't know what Harley Benton is, it is a house brand of Thomann, which is one of the biggest music instruments retailers in Europe. So you won't be able to find Harley Bentons officially anywhere else, and Thomann is the only place where you can actually buy them. Good thing is, they have worldwide shipping, great customer support, and many happy buyers from all over the globe. Speaking of Fusion Ts, at the moment, which is June 2020, there are kind of 6 different modifications of this guitar. 3 different colors with the hardtail bridge, and the same 3 colors with Wilkinson tremolo. And there are also lefty models, which is great. They clock in at $299 for standard models and at $399 for guitars with a roasted maple neck. It doesn't matter what kind of bridge it has, the Wilkinson trem or the hardtail, it's still gonna be the same price. So technically, the only difference between the standard and the more expensive ones is the roasted maple neck. That's what you pay another €100 for. And this is exactly what we're looking at in this video. Fusion T-HH Hardtail Roasted for €399. As always, I'll give you a link below, and please check it out, because sometimes there is B stock, so you can get it for even less money, and if you are located outside of the European Union, the price is going to be better for you anyway, because it won't be including the VAT, which is 19% here in Germany. And even if you don't need Fusion T, I would really appreciate if you check that link, because it really supports the channel and helps me making these videos for you. Okay, here's the box. It says Fusion T Flame Natural Pro Series T-Style Guitar, and alternatively, you can use the item number 469545 to find this guitar at Thomann. Very good, let's open the box and take a look inside. It is a standard packaging, there is no gig bag or anything, which is fine at this price point. And we've got a couple of things included, an Allen wrench and a truss rod adjustment bar. We'll take a close look at tools later on. What else do we have here? Rescue My Guitar sticker and a quality inspection card. It says the guitar was checked before dispatch, but at the same time I have no way of knowing if this guitar was hand-picked for this YouTube video. It probably wasn't, but anyway, I cannot review what I cannot see. With that said, let's unwrap it. Okay, it looks good. And here's the back side. There are a couple of more papers here at the headstock. One of them with greetings from Canada from GraphTech, because this guitar has a GraphTech nut, and the other one is just another quality control card with a serial number. And apparently there is a match with what's written on the backside of the headstock. I want to take off the protective foil on the back. Okay, that will do. Now let's go through the specs real quick. This guitar has a mahogany body, and you can see the grain here on the back side. This particular one has 3 pieces glued together, but it's kind of hard to see where the central piece is. But if we look at it from this perspective, you can see exactly where it is. Things like this may be completely random, just like this dark spot here in the middle. Flame maple veneer, which is a very thin layer of maple on top of mahogany body. I mean, really thin, like less than a millimeter. It has the so-called natural binding, which is not a real binding but just a part of the body without dark stain on it. Bolt-on maple neck, and this specific model has a roasted maple neck with a matching fretboard. It does have a very nice flame pattern, I have to admit, and the fretboard is actually slightly darker here, but again, these things are pretty much random. It's got a standard scale of 25.5 inches. The fretboard has a radius of 12 inches. Let's check the neck profile. Here's the first fret. And that corresponds very well with Harley Benton Fusion 2 neck profile, because essentially that's the same neck. It is thicker than Wizard and slightly thicker than Fender Modern C. Here's how it compares to other neck profiles I've measured on this channel earlier. And let's do the same at the 12th fret. Again, that looks just like Harley Benton Fusion 2 neck. It is way thicker than Ibanez Wizard and very close to Fender Modern C. And here they are all together. What I meant is, Fusion 2 and Fusion T have the same neck profiles, but these necks are not the same, because if you were about to swap them, you wouldn't be able to do that. Mounting holes are placed slightly differently. This guitar comes with 2 Roswell LAF humbuckers equipped with Alnico 5 magnets, and that may actually be the weakest part of the instrument, since these have pretty low output and are not particularly bright, but more on that later. The bridge looks a lot like Hipshot, and chances are it was made at the same factory as the original one. We don't know, it's just my speculation. But I can tell you that I've taken it off, and it feels very solid and it's heavy, so I believe it will last. I found one tiny issue with Hipshot style bridges though, and I'll probably cover it in one of the future episodes of Noise Mechanics, so stay tuned. One more thing I've noticed here, you can see that holes in the base plate of the bridge don't match the holes in the body, which tells me that initially the scale was too short and they've tried to fix it at the factory by setting off the bridge just a little bit. I don't know if it's random just on this particular guitar or if it's a general feature, but that's what I have here. If you own a Fusion T, please let me know in the comments if your holes match or not. At the back of the headstock it says Made in Indonesia, just like Fusion 2. And here we have locking tuners, or staggered locking tuners to be exact, which means they are not the same length, that is to keep higher strings angled nicely. And I have to tell you, my recent research shows these tuning machines are really high quality, and you can find tuners made at the same factory on guitars 3-4 times more expensive than this Fusion T. The headstock is not angled, it's very traditional, therefore there's a string tree here for the first 2 strings. Just like the Fusion 2, this one comes with a Graphtec Tusk XL nut, and I've actually tested that and can confirm that this really is a Graphtec nut. If you ever need a replacement, look for part number BQL5043, that's the actual nut installed in Fusion 2 and Fusion T guitars. You'll find the truss rod adjustment right here next to the neck pickup, which is a good and modern solution. The guitar has a strings through body kind of bridge, and you can see colorful ball ends, which means these are D'Addario strings. And these are 10 to 46. Speaking of the body, it kinda has traditional and modern vibes at the same time. For example, here on the front it is completely flat, but it does have a belly cut on the back and a little cutout here, as well as at the heel. And on the front, electronics include a 3-way switch, which could be a 5-way switch, but we'll talk about this in the part 2 of this video, volume and tone controls, and this is a push-pull for coil splitting. Reasonable strap buttons, by the way, with black fluffy spacers, which is good. And this is exactly what I call a good output jack solution, because it works with any plugs, straight plugs, angled plugs, and even Providence plugs. It is a high gloss finish, and this particular color is called Flame Natural. The back looks more like cherry though. The back of the neck and the fretboard are satin, but the front of the headstock is glossy. Here's the close-up of the neck joint, and you can see that it's really well made. And here's the other side. Speaking of finish flaws, I couldn't really find anything worth a penalty point, but I will mention traces of graphite next to the bridge humbucker, which happens very often even to much more expensive guitars. And some of you may dislike this dark area here in the back, but that's just the way the wood is and there's nothing you can do about it. This guitar has 22 frets, and according to the official specs, these are medium jumbo stainless steel frets. Well, we'll get to the size in a minute, but first of all, let's check the stainless steelness, if you will, which is very easy to do with a piece of standard fret wire. It's made of nickel silver and it's softer than steel, so it shouldn't leave any scratch marks. Yeah, stainless steel confirmed. And here's the fret size, the width and the height. According to Dunlop specs, and those are the most common frets this big will more likely go into the jumbo or even extra jumbo category. And the same with Hosco, the Japanese fret wire manufacturer. But guitars made in Indonesia will more likely have frets produced by DHP Corporation in Korea, which are much cheaper than the Japanese ones. And they indeed have frets of this size called medium jumbo, even though technically they are not as tall as what we have here on the Fusion T. Therefore, this time I will not give out a penalty point, but keep in mind that these frets may be bigger than you expect. Here's what the fret job looks like, and considering that's stainless steel, it is pretty consistent and clean, no sharp edges, no buzz up to highest frets. It is a good fret job. I know some of you guys are skeptical about me counting tools a guitar needs for a setup, but I'll tell you what, if you only play your guitar at home, then it really doesn't matter. But if you do have, let's say, 100 of gigs a year, and I have an experience like that, then each additional tool means a lot of headache for you. And in that environment, it is really important that a guitar does not require more than 3 tools for a full setup, not counting the truss rod range. So for this one, we've got a truss rod tool, which we don't count. It also needs a Phillips screwdriver to set the scale and an Allen wrench to set the height. And that's it. So technically, only 2 tools, which is perfect. That's better than 3. Let's talk about tuning stability, or instability. We've got a straight headstock, strings going through the nut in a straight line, a GraphTech nut, no tremolo, and lock-in tuners. In other words, the best ingredients for a very good tuning stability. The only thing that may potentially become a source of imperfection at some point is this string tree here. But again, you can change it to a GraphTech string tree, use some loop, stretch the strings, and it's gonna stay in tune very well. And don't forget that you can adjust the tightness of the tuners using these screws here. Let's check the weight. It's 3.2 kilos or 7 pounds. It does have a little bit of a neck dive, but not too much, and this short and this strap are very slippery. Overall, it's well balanced, and if I just let it rest, it's not gonna go anywhere. Okay, it's my favorite part. Let's open it and check if it's properly shielded. This cavity is huge, and yeah, it looks like it is shielded, and there's also an aluminum foil on the back of the cover. Here's a close-up of what's inside. Okay, that looks good. And pickup cavities are shielded as well, which is a good thing. Here's what different pickup combinations sound like on clean through eras of black space. Well, I don't have a real Telecaster, but I think it's gonna be more appropriate to compare this Fusion T to my Harley Benton Fusion 2 HH. For the crunch, I'll be using Hughes&Kettner Black Spirit 200, its second channel to be exact. And for the high gain, let's go with the angle iron ball. As always, I used exactly the same impulse response for all my sounds, which is a 1x12 cabinet with a vintage 30 speaker inside. If you like the sound, you can grab the whole impulse pack at my website, link below. I have a couple more things I wanted to go through here. Nobody likes crackling pots. Well, these are not high-end pots, but I have this guitar for a few months now, and so far so good, they are clean. Did you notice how the tone pot doesn't do much until the very end? It works more like an on-off switch rather than a smooth functional control, and that happens because they used a certain type of pot here, which is not optimal for this application, and for that, this guitar finally gets its first penalty point. If you listen carefully, you'll hear some noise that should not be there, especially in high gain. That's much better, and the guitar gets another penalty point for the noise. If you want to know more about better noise management, check my noise mechanics video. Okay, let's put it all together. This guitar has received 2 penalty points, which is the best result ever. I've never seen such a low score in the history of my guitar reviews. So in this video I gave you all the facts, almost all the facts, and in the part 2 of this review I'll give you even more, and most importantly, I'll tell you what I actually think about this guitar. So stay tuned and I'll see you next time. Wow, you've made it to the end of this video, and I'm very happy about that, because first I can say thanks, and second, not many people make it this far. It would be really great to hear back from you in the comments below, not necessarily about the topic of the video, but just, to say hi, for example. If for some reason you like what I do here on this channel and want to support me, there's Patreon, I'll give you a link to that in the description below, and other than that, subscribe or don't subscribe, whatever you feel like. That's it for now, and I'll see you in the next video someday soon.